Hey guys, because over here, and today I'm with the second part of the two-part video series where we are seeing how we can send data from Raspberry Pi Pico W module running Micropython to Node-RED using WebSocket, and thereafter we are going to store the data at InfluxDB, and finally we'll be fetching the data and display it using Node-RED dashboard. So in the first part, we saw like how we can send data from Raspberry Pi Pico W module running Micropython to Node-RED over WebSocket. There, we are able to fetch the data from the device as well as the device was sending data every 5 minutes. So in this part, we'll see how we can store that data to InfluxDB, and thereafter we'll be querying from InfluxDB and showing the data in a Node-RED dashboard. So to start with this, I'm just going to copy the existing flows that I've already created, and you'll find the link to this GitHub repository down below in the description. So just go to Node-RED flow.json. So over here, I'll just get into Node-RED and go to import. Also, to make this flow work, you need to have InfluxDB and Node-RED dashboard installed to your Node-RED environment. So basically, you can see over here, I've already have that installed, Node-RED InfluxDB and Node-RED dashboard. So if you are new to like integrating InfluxDB with Node-RED, you can check out my earlier tutorial on this, for which again you'll find the link down below in the description. So let's get into flow, and you might remember this is the flow that we created last time. Like we have LED on off, then we have request payload that is going to the WebSocket, and we have a listener that is listening to the WebSocket, and I have added other nodes from there. So here we don't need to touch the top part of it, like we can just send out the data to the module, but we are just more interested in the data receiving part of it. So here I have added a JSON node that basically will convert the payload to a JSON object, and after that we are just using a function prep data. So this basically converting the JSON data that we are getting from the Pi Pico W module to a particular JSON structure that we can install, basically insert to the InfluxDB. So if you see this and go to the documentation, and I'm in this particular way of sending data. So if message or payload is an array of arrays, it will have data and tags as an array of object inside it. So we'll be creating this particular structure and will finally be sending that to the InfluxDB node. Over here, InfluxDB I have already configured, and if you are not aware of this, you can check out my earlier tutorial on this. So let's go through the function, like what particularly we are doing. So maximize it, and if you remember, we are getting this particular JSON structure, a string from the Pi Pico W module to Node-RED, and then I'm just iterating through it and creating the structure, something like it's going to be an array of array of arrays, and inside the array it will have tags and the value object basically. So let's try to print this out. Let's see quickly. Run, and over here what I'll do is I'll take this node, let's disable this, deploy, and let's request for payload. Okay, so we have this particular structure over here, like we are sending the key value pair where device or disk used is going to be the measurement, and we have these tags added basically, which talks about the device ID and the data unit. Similarly, we have a couple of other KPIs or measurements like RAM used, and basically we have sensor temperature, which is basically the onboard temperature sensor of Pi Pico W. You might be already aware of this. So over here I'm getting unauthorized access. Let's see why. So over here, go to API tokens, in data load, and we need to create a new token, all access token for time being. Okay, get this token and finally paste it over here. Update, done, deploy. And now when we request, it should write to the Node-RED database. Oh, sorry, InfluxDB. So over here we are writing to this particular, Pico's measurement, and if you go here to data explore, and we should get just measurement Pico, and you can see we are getting the variables like we are getting the fields like text used, time used, and I think we should have temperature as well. Yep, sensor temperature node. So let's see, disk used, time used, and sensor temperature. Again, we have only one device, so we need to filter with that. And in last 1 hour we should have got a couple of measurements. It basically is sending and storing every 5 minutes, so over the time we should have more data. So basically now you can see, sorry, not here, this portion of code is working. Like we are getting the data, just converting to a JSON object, and we are running through a function that converts it into a particular structure that we can send out to InfluxDB to store. Now let's try to read from the Influx database and show in Node-RED code. To do that, what I'm doing is I have inserted a inject node, basically that will initialize the drop downs that we are going to display in the Node-RED dashboard, which will let us select which KPI we want to view. So this is simple drop down. Then we have before this we have this flux query that basically helps us query the InfluxDB measurements based on a particular field or all the fields. So over here you see we are just querying our fields, and we are just fetching the data for last 12 hours from the test bucket, and the measurement is picos, and the fields that we are going to query is going to be dynamic, so it will be based on the drop down values. Either it's going to be everything or only the selected one. Now we are just running that flux query over this influx in node. Okay, so this is a static query that I have given to get it initialized. Then after that we have this node that basically converts the data into something that other Node-RED dashboard charts can consume. So they also take data in a particular structure. So if you go to the chart node and see the documentation, okay, so you can check out this document, like how you can pre-format and all that. So that basically is you need to create 3 arrays in payload: series, data, and labels. So series will get basically store the name of the storage, data will get store the actual data as objects, and labels will finally have the labels for the series. So accordingly I'm just processing each of the data that is read from InfluxDB and formatting into this particular structure, and finally we are just returning the payload, and that goes into a Node-RED dashboard chart, and also it goes to a function node which basically takes out the options from the labels array and sends out to the drop down widget of Node-RED dashboard. So to view this, okay, now so it's loading over here, and this is simple dashboard that I've created. It just has a drop down that lists all the measured KPIs from the module, and we have this sensor data chart. Oh, for some reason I'm getting units as Celsius, so let's go here and see. On the device I'm just sending it wrong, like the units coming up as C, but it should have been the respective units like kilobytes, megabytes, and we can change that later on. But yeah, the thing is we are getting data over here in chart, as well as we are getting the select KPI drop down. From here we can select the KPI that we want to display, and it should display that particular KPI only. So for now we have only couple of data points, so we are getting this type of chart. But yeah, with time when we have more data points, the chart would display all those. So that's all about it. Like that's how you can store data and fetch and display in charts or other objects that you want in Node-RED dashboard. You can also try out other Node-RED UI available. For time being I have just used Node-RED dashboard. So yeah, that's all with this, guys. Hope this will be useful for you. If so, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel for videos like this. See you next time with our next video. Till then, goodbye.